Welcome. I'm Denise Burns with the Catoosa County Republican Party's Candidate Interview Committee. We'll take a minute for the other members to introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Michael Powell.
I'm Joanna Hildreth.
Thank you for taking time out of your campaign to participate in this interview process. We have extended this invitation to all candidates in this race for the purpose of aiding the voters in making their decisions. This video will appear on the Catoosa County Republican Party website. While we do everything to prevent anyone from obtaining the video without proper request or use, we cannot guarantee that the video will not be obtained by others, regardless of our best efforts to secure it. The interview will be shown in its entirety. For the interview, we will be asking 12 questions that can offer no prompting. There are no right or wrong answers, only your answers. We ask each candidate the same questions. Please introduce yourself and state the position that you're running for.
Hi, I'm Gary Sisk. I'm currently your serving sheriff of Catoosa County, and I'm running for re-election as the sheriff of Catoosa County.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and get started with the question. How does the Republican platform tie into your vision as the sheriff of Catoosa County?
The Republican platform ties into my position of sheriff is, of course, I want to provide to the citizens the most cost-effective law enforcement. I think smaller government is the answer. More power needs to be given back to the people. I don't think that we need to rely on federal or state governments. I think it all should generate from right here at home. I am the highest law enforcement officer in a county. I can call my representatives, but I make the most influence right here in Catoosa County, and I think that's where all the power should be.
How does the Constitution shape your vision as sheriff?
Oh gosh, the Constitution defines it completely as far as our position goes in dealing with law enforcement and all the rights that people have with the Constitution. Then it defines it completely. You can't live without it.
Do you believe that federal departments such as DHS, TSA, and DEA are undermining the constitutional role of sheriff, particularly in regard to budget controls?
I haven't seen any budget controls necessarily coming from those federal agencies, but like I stated in the first question, I completely believe that all of the controls should be at the local level. We know more about what our people need and what our people want. I think once you get up to the state and then the federal level, it starts getting disconnected as to what the people really need and really want.
What do you think about no-knock warrants as it relates to the Fourth Amendment?
There is a necessity for no-knock warrants. It doesn't have to be for every warrant, but for the safety of the officers involved, there is definitely a need for it. But we always provide the probable cause to a judge that then decides whether or not that measure should be taken. All warrants don't have no-knock, but for the safety of everyone involved and for being able to obtain evidence can be destroyed while officers are trying to get someone to come to the door. And we have found that to happen in just a recent case.
Do you believe that locally elected sheriffs are accountable to the people and are supposed to be the chief law enforcement officer of the county, bar none?
Oh, absolutely. I take the office of sheriff to heart. It's a great passion of mine. I talk to my employees and all new prospective employees all the time about that is what is so great about the office of sheriff, and that I'm elected by the people of the county and we serve the people of the county. We are community servants, and I think we have to keep that in mind when we're serving the people.
Do you believe that federal agents must operate with the approval of the sheriff or not at all?
I don't know about with sole approval of the sheriff, but they definitely should always make sure and communicate with the sheriff, and that way if the sheriff does have issues with what it is that they are doing, we can bring that to their attention, and if need be, then we can address that with our constituents here at home and try to help them. Again, we're here to serve the people. of the community and make sure that all the laws are followed.
What changes would you bring to the county sheriff's office over the next 4 years?
Well, we brought a lot of changes currently in place with my current term of office. So one, we need to continue to work on some of those problems. Again, we're getting the community more involved in the issues that we're dealing with as far as recidivism and the cycle of crime of our young people growing up and following in the footsteps of their young siblings and parents. We need to get our court system involved in this. We're one of few counties or one of few circuits in the state of Georgia that doesn't have accountability courts. And it's a proven fact that they have seen success with these accountability courts. I don't think that the courts need to be always about collecting money. We can solve that with some community service. Some of these people that are having to come through the system don't have the funds to pay it, and unfortunately they're only getting set up to fail again when they can't pay those probation fees or they can't pay those fines. And it can't be a money court. It can't always pay for itself. But we have to hold people accountable for their crimes and for what they've done. I'm all for that, but there's totally different other ways to do it. And while we have them incarcerated, we need to do everything we can to rehabilitate them so they don't come back through those doors again.
If elected sheriff, could you make cuts to the budget and maintain or increase current service levels? Please explain your answer.
Currently, there aren't cuts to be made to the budget, and definitely not cuts to be made to increase service. About 85% of the current budget is employees' salaries and fringe benefits. There's not a whole lot of other cost in the budget for expenditures throughout the rest of the year. And of course, people is our biggest helpful piece of equipment that we can have. It takes people to get the job done. I think we've been very, very frugal with the taxpayers' money, with all the services that we provide, with everything that's going on in the nation involving law enforcement. It's very difficult to find good applicants now that want to get into this profession. So unfortunately right now I do feel that we're providing probably the most cost-effective law enforcement that we can with the value that we're given.
What are your full views on the recent militarization of local police departments?
As far as militarization, I don't necessarily go on that. If we're talking more about the militarized equipment that's more military based, there can be needs for some of that some of the time. I haven't found that to always be the case, especially here in Catoosa County, but we have had 2 incidents where we've had barricaded subjects in homes, and the only safe way to approach the home was through a militarized vehicle. It wasn't one we owned, it's one that belongs to the state. When we called in their tactical team to come in and use it, I don't know that every law enforcement agency needs it, but with us having more wolf-type terrorist attacks that are going on throughout the nation, it could come up anywhere. And if we've got to get vehicles or something in there to evacuate people, then sometimes it takes armor-proof vehicles to be able to do that. And if we're having to combat terrorists or other individuals on our home turf, then sometimes we have to have the weapons and the abilities to match the force that's being brought against us as well.
What makes you the best candidate in the Republican field?
I think I'm the best candidate for the office of sheriff because I have spent most of my life involved in emergency services in Catoosa County, now 24 years at the sheriff's office. I am a servant of the people. I am about promoting our employees to be servants of the people, and I think that's one big accomplishment that we've really had is getting our employees to get more involved in the community and to become passionate about serving our community and serving the citizens. We've started a number of programs. We mentor to elementary age students in the elementary schools. We've got a mentor program we're doing with the jail and inmates for re-entry into the community. We're working with other community partners. I want it to be community programs, community-driven programs, and not government programs, so that government isn't telling us how to do it. We, the community, can tell us how to do it. We decide, and not the government. And that is my passion. If we want our community to change, we've got to get involved, and this is how you do it.
Who is your favorite Republican from the past or present?
I'd probably venture to say a lot of Republicans may have said this name or what, but I think he was one of our greatest presidents in my time that I feel, and it's going to be Ronald Reagan. I just liked his cool head. I liked his manner of thinking, and I really liked him.
This concludes the interview. Thank you very much for taking the time to participate in this interview process.
Thank you.